and call on Deputy Thomas Pringle or Deputy Catherine Connolly to move for leave to introduce their Adoption Information Bill 2021 first stage. Deputy Pringle.
I move, Concordia, and I'd like to share time, if I can, just with Deputy Connolly as well. Concordia, I'm delighted to be introducing the Adoption Information Bill 2021 in conjunction with my colleague, Deputy Catherine Connolly, here today. I would like to note the private members' bills of Sinn Féin's Deputy Kathleen Function, which was debated earlier on today, and I know the government has accepted it, but I think this bill needs to go in there as well to keep the pressure on and ensure that it's brought to a satisfactory conclusion. And also Labour's Senator Vanna Bacik's bill in the Senate as well. It seems that many of us were moved to take action after listening to survivors. We are keeping this hugely important issue on the agenda. Concordia, late last year there was a huge show of public support, solidarity and for survivors of mother and baby homes. Dr Maeve O'Rourke, Miss Claire McGettrick and others from the Clan Project have been disparaged by some members of the government because of the power of survivors' campaigns. One such campaign is My Records, My Rights, for adoptees to have access to their birth certificates and access to their files that were in possession of the now dissolved Commission of Investigation into Mother and Baby Homes. This is a simple bill but would mean so much to survivors. The purpose of the Adoption Information Bill 2021 is to provide unconditional access to birth certificates for adopted persons. The bill amends Section 86 of the Adoption Act 2010 so as to allow the Tard Clarahar to provide adopted persons with access to their entry in the index that makes traceable the connection between each entry in the Adopted Children Register and the corresponding entry in the Register of Births.
Deputy Connolly.
Chuir fáilte Reverend Jesh cúpla focail ará faoin bille seo is bille Har bheith díreach agus siimplí agus is é an tríú bille os cór na dála aníis agus léiríonn sin có tábhachtach is atá an tábhar seo agus có bunúsach cearta bunúsach atá I gceist go gintóthaí go méid ólas ag daoine atá uchtaithe go make rocktan acu a chuid ólas parsanta. My colleague Deputy Pringle has laid out the bill. It's very, very simple, should I say very straightforward rather than simple, and it's providing for access to birth certificates for adopted persons. And it's hard actually I struggle for words in the 21st century that something as basic as this still remains contentious. And we're 20 years this year, a he-she, and from a particular group on the ground who asked for legislation back 20 years ago. Prior to that, in the 80s, in 84, we had a committee that reported that at that point, even in 84, thought it was a basic human right to give basic information to people who were adopted, who came looking for that, although the majority wanted it not retrospective. But even then, it's been discussed in the Supreme Court and teased out on many of the occasions in different courts, and particularly in the Supreme Court in a 1998 case. On top of that, we've had so many reports, the latest being yesterday's report in relation to illegal adoptions, a scoping exercise. And I'm going to use just a few seconds to emphasise it was a scoping exercise. It set out to scope the nature of the problems and the nature of the files. So the narrative that talks about no false registrations being found, again, is a false narrative. In relation to the basic right to have information, the Rapporteur for Child Protection went out on a limb back in 2015 and said the right to access a birth certificate is a minimum core of the right to identity. In order to comply with our international human rights law obligations, this should be an automatic entitlement of every adoptee with no exceptions or qualifications. Now, I have given the Minister, Minister Gorman, the benefit of the doubt, and I don't doubt his bona fides. And I know he's going to come forward with comprehensive legislation. But we need action now in relation to this specific aspect where people who were adopted as children and come forward looking for the most basic information should have that as of right. That's what this bill is about. That's what the bill of Sinn Féin was about earlier on today, and I thank them for bringing it. And that's the bill, I presume, that Senator Ivan Bacik is bringing as well. So can we take action now to restore trust? Because trust is at an all-time low, given the way that people on the ground have been treated in relation to the Commission's report, the leak, the failure to give the report, not to mention the language used. I'll finish by saying, Taoiseach, the language yesterday in a shadow cast long and the report is excellent. It's respectful, it finds facts, it is well written, and it's set out very, very clearly whether one agrees with it or not. So in that context, I'm asking that the bill move on to the next stage. Thank you.
Is the bill being opposed? No. It is not being opposed, so therefore the motion for leave to introduce is agreed. Would either of the deputies propose that the second stage be taken in private members' time?
I move.
Deputy Pringle moves. Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much.